we're gonna go out the side door because we got we got a congregation of cats that they all want in, and they're not coming in. Got one kitten out there now, and we got 3 we're taking out there with us. It's gonna be their first snow, their first experience with it. We're quick! Get to California! We've had somebody take parts off of it since it's been sitting here. Oh, yeah. They better be watching it. I catch anybody out here, I'm gonna shoot them. He just bought a grill, and I think the grill.
Okay, you guys. So I'm going to post the non-emergency number to his post of the Ohio State Police, the post that's closest to where he is. You cannot legally be in possession of a firearm being a convicted felon. A shotgun is considered a firearm. Doesn't matter. It is a firearm. He is in constructive possession of a firearm knowing that he's a felon. That is a mandatory sentence of 7 years per count, which there's 2 videos here and there's multiple other videos on his channel with him in constructive possession of a firearm, which that's 7 years per count. So that's 2 counts just in this video. If you guys would like, call this post number here. Let them know that there is a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, and let's get this fucker off the streets. Because once and for all, he just needs to be took out. He should not be in possession of a firearm. He is a dangerous man. I mean, he threatens to kill everybody. He hates cops, all this other stuff. And shotgun is there. It's not in Ryan's room locked up in a gun cabinet like a responsible gun owner would have it. It is laying out where Barry has it. Barry's in constructive possession. Barry has it in multiple videos with him having constructive possession of a firearm, which that's all that matters. So, with that being said, let's get into what Barry said today. Again, this is the number for the non-emergency for the closest post I could find to him. So yeah, call them, let them know that there's a felon with a fucking firearm that he should not have.
Indiana. I believe it's not illegal now, but it used to be illegal to have a concealed weapon on your side. You know, you don't live in Texas, buddy. You know, this ain't the Wild Wild West. You know, you can walk around with a gun. You know, and that's how it should be. You know, it should be. You shouldn't be able to walk around with a gun. Shouldn't have a gun. You know, that's for pussies. You know. So if you got a gun, I hate to say it, everybody out there that carries guns, you ain't nothing but a bitch. You're a pussy if you got to carry a gun. Now, if you're a police officer, well, you know, you got a reason to carry a gun. You're a law officer, you know. You're allowed to do that because you're the law. But if you're just a regular citizen and you don't live in a state like Texas where people can come out and shoot you for trespassing, you know, you're a pussy. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. If you have to have a gun, you're a pussy. I mean, the guns are for certain things. What was his name? Hank Williams Jr. I got a rifle, a shotgun, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Well, there's reasons for guns, you know, for hunting and for protection, of course, if somebody breaks in your house, you know. There's a reason for a gun, okay? I can understand that, you know. But to carry a gun because you screwed over so many people and robbed people and cheated people, like these haters I keep talking about, these trolls, you know, you ain't nothing but a bitch. You're a pussy. You know, you won't come out behind your little computer and put up your dukes and fight and be a man. You're going to be a little bitch and pull a gun, you know. That's, to me, you're a pussy. That's it, guys. That's how I feel about it. I don't carry guns, never have carried a gun, won't carry a gun. Never in my life have I walked around with guns and carried guns. The only time I ever had a gun around me is if we were hunting or doing some target shooting or something like that. You know, you don't be a pussy, guys. Don't be a pussy. Don't take a gun with you, you know, be one of these terrorists or one of these people that go into a, you know, mall and shoot people up, you know. That's a pussy, you know. Don't be a pussy, guys. See you in the next one. Maybe we'll have an actual action with the saw on the next video.
Alrighty, you guys. So this video is going to span for a little bit because I just want to discuss this. So Barry takes us all us red-toting, gun-toting Americans, and calls us terrorists. He's fucking so delusional. This man is mad because, unlike the rest of us, he lost his fucking rights in 1992 to ever possess or own a firearm. Not that matters because he's a convicted felon in possession of a 12-gauge shotgun. But if you guys would like, you guys can call that number that I put up here and inform the state police in Ohio that he is threatening people. He has a shotgun, and he's a convicted felon, which is a mandatory sentence of fucking 7 years per count, and there's multiple counts on this channel. Now let's talk about the law thing, where you couldn't conceal and carry in Indiana. He is totally wrong. You have always been able to conceal and carry in the state of Indiana. Here recently, though, Barry, what you're thinking of is constitutional carry, which is a totally different subject matter. Constitutional carry means it's my right to carry a firearm, therefore I don't have to pay the state of Indiana to have a CCL. That's what that means. We have always, in the state of Indiana, Ohio, and most states, been able to conceal and carry a firearm. Until recently in Indiana, we just had to give the state and the feds some money. That's all it amounts to. That's all it amounts to. I get it that that you cannot legally conceal and carry a firearm, therefore you want to call everybody that does a bitch and isolate a whole fucking group of people, calling us terrorists and mass shooters. No, because most mass shooters and school shooters and things of that nature get stopped by, guess what, Barry? A gun. And guess what, Barry? You could take away the guns from everybody in the world. Everybody in America could lose a gun. And people would still find a way to kill each other, to do things, horrible things to each other. Because you know what we used to do way before this, Barry, way before guns were even invented? We used swords and knives and things of that nature to harm each other. So I don't want to hear your argument on that either. So, before you go segregating a whole group of people because you yourself cannot legally own and possess because you're a fucking convicted felon. And guys, don't be in the comments talking about convicted felons. Not all convicted felons believe like this. This is just idiotic and stupid. It's just Barry would rather, it's like him calling his mama whore all over again. He would much rather fucking say his mom was a whore to get back at his brother, just like Night Brother said, everybody that carries a gun's a bitch, so he hopes that it gets a rise out of me, because that's what Barry, because he can't get a rise out of me anywhere else. He will say that and isolate a bunch of people that watch his channel that can still carry guns. Most Americans, if they're allowed to possess a gun, have a gun. As a matter of fact, when I turned 21, guess what I did? Instead of going out and drinking, partying like Barry did at 21, I went out with my ex-girlfriend at the time. She gave me the money. I bought myself a firearm, my Taurus G3C that I carry every day. Bought it my 21st birthday. Been carrying it ever since then. Before then, I was carrying around the 22 revolver that my grandpa bought me when I was like 7 or 8. Like, if you're gonna come at me, bro, and talk all these gun laws and talk all this shit, Barry, at least know the shit you're talking, because you don't know anything about anything when it comes to guns, the gun laws, the fucking anything like that. I want to dive into the Second Amendment real quick and talk about this, because you know why, Barry? People like me, we carry guns because of this reason right here. We the people want to be responsible for our own safety. That's the point of a firearm. Our founding fathers wrote it in the fucking Constitution, Barry. So our founding fathers were bitches? Is that what you're saying? Because they knew how necessary a firearm was to a free state? So, I'm going to put that in here. Alrighty, guys. I'm about to read the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution to you guys, for those of you that don't know it. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, what that means is, our awesome fucking founding fathers, the greatest men ever, had just kicked fucking England's ass and kicked them all the way back to fucking England. And in that moment, you know what we used to kick their asses? Firearms. So you know what they said? If a government ever gets tyrannical again, we need these to be able to fight back, because we the people need to be, what? Armed. So we can stand up and fight for our freedoms. Fight for everything that we want to fight for. That's what that means. So Barry's even calling our founding fathers, the greatest men ever, the people that gave him freedom of speech to say this shit and everything else, bitches and cowards. And in my opinion, they're the awesomest people in the world. Fucking George Washington, all that thing, straight up OGs in this bitch. Straight up. As a matter of fact, dude, I'm gonna give you one of the flags that fucking got George Washington. It says, "Stay strapped or get clapped." George Washington said, probably. Just because I like it. So, I love this shit. Now I'm gonna show a tragedy that happened, well, a couple hours from me, like 2 years ago. And I remember when this happened because it was big news. And I'm going to show you guys why, in my opinion, not in my opinion, why it is that guns are important to carry. Because there's always bad people, dangerous people like Barry in the world. And I'm going to show you one of them. And I'm going to show you what this hero did. And I want you guys to listen to the newscast. Alrighty, you guys. That was 2 years ago, and I remember I was actually working on the Dart at the time when this went down because it came across my phone. Mass tragedies are always horrible because people like Barry that have small egos and that can't face reality decide they'd rather go out and hurt a whole bunch of people than just hurt themselves. And if you're one of these fucking people that think like this and have these ideologies and just think that this type of behavior is okay, then you should just start a shotgun because you're horrible people. This incident, I can't remember exactly how far, but this guy went in there with the AR-15, which I own one. I love mine. Mine's good. But people do these mass tragedies with them rifles, and they always get a bunch of bad backlash. And people say that AR stands for assault rifle, when really it stands for Armalite Rifle, which is the company that made AR. And it's just a bunch of bullshit. This kid, as I can't remember, I think he was 20-something. He was carrying a firearm in the mall, which I always carry. Barry's right. I'm always carrying. I'm always packing. Just for situations like this. Because you never know when you're going to be at a mall or a movie or just out in public and some idiot, some lowlife, some fucking coward is going to decide that he wants to go take a whole group of people out because he's mad at the world and he's depressed because people don't know his name and all this other bullshit these fuckers get in their head. That's why we should carry. Because in this instance, in many instances, a good guy with a gun took out the bad guy with a gun. And yes, like 3 or 4 people died, and that is horrible. But if that kid wouldn't have been carrying that damn in that mall, a whole lot more people would have died. And this is why we need our Second Amendment. This is why. This is why if you are a law-abiding, you are able-bodied, you are willing, you should carry a pistol or a firearm on you at all times. You can go into a mall with a gun in your holster on your side, carrying it. It's against their policy. They may ask you to leave. Same with the movie theater. Put your shirt over it. It's why you have a concealed carry license. You can conceal it. It's nobody's business what you have on your person. If you are everyday carrying, good for you. Because bad guys like this, that's the reason. Because people like Barry and people like this dude on here think that well, what's the chances of me going in here and a good guy having a gun? Well, as that dude found out, he got taken out from I think several yards away or something. It was a pretty good distance with a pistol. And did the kid mag dump him? No, I think he fired 3 or 4 shots, hit him with every single one of them. The kid didn't get any charges out of it, as he shouldn't have, because he was a fucking hero. He took down the fucking mass shooter, the piece of shit, the fucking bad guy, the scum of the fucking earth. And Barry's trying to wrap us all in with these fucking idiots that do this shit. No. Not all gun fucking toting people are those type of lowlifes. And if you are, you shouldn't own a gun. And that's just my opinion. Do I believe guns are the problem in society? No. Do I believe people are? Yes. Do I believe that there should be some kind of psych evaluation before we buy a gun? Yes. Because we don't want people like this having a gun. And if we did more psych evaluations before we buy a firearm, then people like this wouldn't have them. People like Barry wouldn't have been able to own or possess. Ryan wouldn't be able to own and possess. I mean, yes, you could still buy them person to person, but most of these people just go to a gun store and buy them from a gun store. I think before you file a 4173 and you buy a handgun or a rifle, you should have to pass some kind of psych eval. And I think that would stop a lot of these mass tragedies and the shit from happening. And I'm kind of pissed off, but I'm not, because I wouldn't expect anything less than Barry to group us all in with terrorists and these people. I love you guys. I know that most of the American populace that carry firearms are not these horrible people. We're just good people that want to be able to protect ourselves and our families from pieces of shit like Barry and like this guy. Or this person, because he's not even, I don't want to call him a guy, he's a fucking maggot. This maggot that went in here thinking he was going to cause a bunch of havoc and got owned by the good guy with a gun. That, in my opinion, those are heroes. Those are the ones we want carrying a gun, not people like Barry. And I want to talk about something else before we end this, so I'm gonna get off of this, and we're going to talk about that. So one thing I want to close this out and say is, Barry talks about the only time he's carried a gun was for target shooting. Barry don't even know the 4 rules of gun safety, and I'm gonna read them off to you guys. He literally shot a hole in his fucking ex-buddy / landlord's garage with a 12 gauge. It's hot. Exactly. You guys get where he's a felon. He's not supposed to have those. I mean, he is such an idiot. So you ready for this? Barry, I know you don't understand this. So, and I know you can't own a gun, so this is just falling on deaf ears with you. The 4 rules of gun safety. Treat every firearm as if it is loaded. Which means, as it says, treat it like it has a live round in the tube ready to go off. Never point your gun at anything you are not willing to fucking destroy, such as walls, houses, TVs, fucking people, kids, fucking whatever. Keep your finger off the trigger until you are ready to fire, Barry. Does that help you not blow a hole in the wall? Be sure of your target and what is behind it. Which means, if you're going to fire at somebody breaks in your house and you're going to shoot them, you need to know where that bullet's going to go. If it goes through your neighbor's house and into that house and hurts somebody, you're liable for it. Now, thank you all for riding out with me again. Again, if you want to call the Ohio State Police, there's a number. There's a video proof that he is in possession. There is multiple videos where he is in constructive possession of a firearm. So, if you want to call them, let them know. His name is Barry S. Beamer. Beamer & Sons Garage. Claremont County, Ohio. And you guys can let them know this. Thank you guys. I love every single one of you guys. Thanks for riding out with me again. Bye-bye.